When I came to the Glen Rock community, my biggest goal was to be known as an innovative leader, someone who values transparency and makes decisions based on our students' wants and needs. So when the broadcast media students at Glen Rock High School pitched the concept for an original web series, it was a no-brainer for me. Together, we developed a show for the community, by the community. And we are ready to share your story right here, right now on
Charleston in Charge, Season 3, Take 1.
Hello, Glen Rock, and welcome back to a new school year in Season 3 of Charleston in Charge. Today, we kick off the season with an introduction to our new assistant principals, Ms. Maria Rivera, Assistant Principal of Glen Rock High School, and Mr. Louis Ferrara, Assistant Principal of Glen Rock Middle School. Mr. Ferrara has worked in education for 16 years, teaching social studies at both the middle and high school levels in the West Essex School District. He has always aspired to become an administrator and believes that his classroom and coaching experience has prepared him well for this new role. Ms. Rivera's former careers, both in the medical field and as an accountant, led to the educational leadership position she holds today. Following her graduation from Caldwell University, where she earned a bachelor's degree and an MBA, Mrs. Rivera worked as an accountant. She eventually combined her two passions of business and working with teens by becoming a business teacher. And she has mentored and coached teachers on instructional and behavioral management strategies, utilizing data to enhance student academic achievements. She has also developed educational programs to enhance both academics and improve behaviors. Join me as we meet our new assistant principals on Charleston in Charge. Greetings, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Charleston in Charge, Season 3. Today, I'm joined by our two new assistant principals. At the high school, we have Ms. Maria Rivera, and at the middle school, we have Mr. Louis Ferrara. Welcome. We have a couple of questions for you, and so everybody kind of get to know you. So why don't we start off with you, Mr. Rivera. Why don't you share your career path and how it led you to come over here to Glen Rock?
Okay. So, my career in education started off as a high school teacher. Previous to education, I was I was an accountant, and wasn't really much like my cup of tea, sure. I want to say. Even though I love finances, just being in a little cubby wasn't my thing. And a good friend of mine, mentor, suggested, you love high school kids, you love teenagers, and you love business, mix it and become a business teacher. So I haven't looked back.
I remember during the interview process, we had one of our former students who was interning with us in the interview, and it was just so obvious how you made connections with her, and that's been evident since day one, since you've been here. What about you? What's your career path, and what led you over here to The Rock?
So it's actually interesting. I vividly remember graduating high school and saying I'll never set foot in this building ever again. And that was at West Essex High School, which 5 years later I wound up starting my teaching career at. And I was at West Essex. I started off at their middle school. It's a similar school district to Glen Rock. It's two schools on the same campus, but they're separated. And I started off teaching social studies at the middle school. From there, I started traveling between both buildings. And then I worked primarily just at the high school. So I got a taste of, both schools.
Excellent. So, when we look back on our careers, there's always a couple of events, one or two that we define as turning points. Do you know what those were for you? Like, what were some of your monumental events that said, hey, I'm going to be either in education or I'm going to be an assistant principal?
For me, I have two particular memories. So as a teacher, I remember there was a student that academics wasn't his strong suit. But there was no way, I was going to give up on this kid. There was no way. I still remember him to this day. And teachers would say, he doesn't go to none of the classes, but he would always come to my class, And it wasn't, for me, it's not only about the academics. I want to know what's going on with them. I want to know what's going on at home. I want to know what their struggles are, like, what's going on? What makes you as a student? What makes you as a brother, as a sister, as a cousin? Who are you? So that's priceless. As an administrator, what led me to want to become administrator, I remember staying after school with one teacher, and something as easy as helping her drag a folder into, like a file into her folder was difficult. But I remember this is, something as simple as this, just helping a teacher, supporting them, whether it's with classroom management or organizing their drive or helping them with technology. It's priceless, because at the end of the day, the teacher wins, we win, we both win. It's the student that's going to be successful.
The jobs are hard, especially in administration, and you touched upon it. I think it's the connections we make with kids that are critical and paramount. So, Mr. Farr, what about you? What are one or two events that you credit as a turning point in your career? And at the time, did you say, whoa, that was like a seminal moment? That's a core memory. I think that's a movie out there, right? Whatever it is.
So I actually, like I said, I was very undecided as to what my career path was going to be. And in college, I started my path towards education because I come from a family of educators. So my mom and both my sisters both teach. And I decided to try it. I took my college courses. I still was undecided though. And then when I started student teaching, that's when it really opened my eyes, and I saw how much of an impact that I can have on students. And ultimately, that's what led me to really pursue the career with passion. And then running into students years later, and now it's, they're in their late 20s, early 30s, and them still remembering me when I see them, and not necessarily being able to point out a specific lesson that I taught them, but just how they felt in my classroom. And then that was just, as rewarding as anything could be. As an administrator, as I gained more experience in teaching, I ultimately came to the realization that I wanted to try something different. So I never wanted to do the same thing for too long. So that's why I worked both middle school and then the high school to kind of try different fields. And as an administrator, one of the things that I always wanted to focus on was trying to impact the overarching school community, whereas as a teacher I felt as though I was limited to just a classroom. So that's one of the things that really helped me seek the administration route. And once I came over here to Glen Rock, I felt like it was home.
Yeah.
Excellent. Throughout all of our careers, we have someone that influences us like the most. So who would be your most influential person in your life, and what did they do that inspired you? We'll start with you, Mr. Rivera.
This might seem a little like cliche, but I have to say my husband. He has always been a person to always look at the good side of people. I think it's the social worker side of him. Things are always positive, no matter how bad things get. Let's look at the positive things. And I remember when doors were starting to close on me because states were changing the requirements to hold the position that I had. He said, Maria, 4 years are going to pass, and you're going to be Maria with a degree or Maria without, And I never looked back. I was, of course, nervous because as an adult, I'm going back to school. I have, kids that I have to take care of, but he's always supported me, whatever I wanted to do. Personally, professionally, he's always been there and always has those words that you need to hear at the right time.
No. It's important to have a partner. For me, my inspirational person would be my wife, and it's the reason that I have to wear bow ties. Because she's, but she's not happy with the beard, so right now we're battling in the Charleston household. What about you? Who was the most influential person in your life, and how did they inspire you?
So my wife, I think it's always important to find somebody who's going to get you to be the best version of yourself. And that's something that my wife has done with me, especially with pursuing my career. So with us at home, we have 4 young children, and when it came to the point where I wanted to seek a path in administration, we knew that it would involve more hours and less time for me to be at home. And it's something that, as soon as I asked her, what do you think, she was the first one to push me right towards it and just say, we'll take care of everything, but you have to become the best version of yourself, and that's really what pushed me in that direction.
Good. Yeah, it's important in administration. I know I shared this in the interview process. It's not a 24/7 job, but the hours are demanding, and you need to have that support at home because it's we're here for kids, and with that comes just a lot of hours, a lot of events and things along those lines. Mr. Ferrer, we'll go with you. If you could have dinner with any historical figure, dead or alive, who would it be and what would you want to talk about?
Such a great question. I could talk about history all day long. It may sound cliche, but I would have to go with Abraham Lincoln. I often think about walking into a job and having all of the odds stacked against you and still coming out on top, and the sacrifices that he had to make and how he was able to do that. It's always been something that I've highly admired about him, and he's the historical figure that I've read the most about, and it's amazing to me that what he was able to accomplish in a 4-year span of time, that we could still remember him 170 years later.
No, fair enough. Ms. Rivera, we hear that you love extreme sports like skydiving. By the way, it's not covered by insurance. Is that true? And tell us about it.
So I have to tell you, I'm going to be totally transparent. I don't have a single competitive bone in my body. I don't. If you're ahead of me, it's just okay. If I'm running, which you probably would never see me running, but it's just, it's just, I'm not a competitive person. But my husband went skydiving when he finished his master's, and I was there with my daughter and her friend and my son to support him, and he called me a chicken.
Oh.
And he said, "I dare you," and you dare me. So the teenage girl that my daughter was with, I said, "What size are your sneakers? What size are your pants? Let's go change clothes." And I came out and let's do this. But I don't have a competitive bone in my body. I don't. The experience was awesome. I recommend anyone to do it, but I don't know if I'll do it again.
Okay. Well, they say you should do something dangerous every day, right? Keeps you alive. What advice do each of you have for our students in middle and high school? Let's start with middle school.
So middle school, it's a big transition coming from the elementary level, and I know it's a big change, but I think if you always stick to the basics of working hard, coming to school prepared, I think that you're setting yourself up to the path to success. So I think just working hard, being consistent in your patterns and habits.
What about high school?
Come to us. If you're going through something, come see us. If you are struggling, whether it's something, like I said before, like socially, emotionally, even behaviorally or academic, come see us. Like, see us as, I'm that person in the supermarket. I know it's hard to, to think of teachers and educators as people in the supermarket, but we're humans, we're people, we're here to support you. Come see us, come talk to us, because if you're going through something, you're not going to be able to give your full self in the classroom. So come see us, allow us to support you and work through whatever it is that you have going on so that you can come out on top and be successful.
Well, clearly we have two very strong and qualified assistant principals. They're going to lead us into a wonderful school year. One of the things that we do here at Glen Rock, our cheerleaders lead it, our student sections do it. We always kind of end with a "Let's Go Rock." So on the count of 3, let's get a good "Let's Go Rock." 1, 2, 3. Let's go rock! Very good. All right, let's go some rapid fire questions. Really quick, 1 or 2 word answers. We'll start with you, Mr. Farrar. What's your favorite food to indulge in?
Oh, easy, cookies.
What about you?
Brownies.
Oh, chocolate chip cookies?
Chocolate chip.
Okay, all right, fair, all right. Favorite hobby, Mr. Rivera?
Watching TV.
Running.
Running. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Coffee.
Okay.
Tea.
Tea.
Both.
Both. Okay. You sure?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Biggest pet peeve?
Giving up.
Give it up.
Messes.
Yeah, no, I'm a messes guy. Yeah. Favorite holiday?
Thanksgiving.
Christmas.
Most used app on your phone, Mr. Rivera?
TikTok.
TikTok.
Zillow. I like to see all the houses I can't afford.
That's almost as interesting as Indeed, I must say. That's going to definitely make it into the bloopers, and at the end of the year, highlight reel. Do you prefer to eat in or take out?
Eat in.
Eat it.
Yeah. Chocolate or vanilla?
Vanilla.
Vanilla.
Mountains or beaches?
Beaches.
Beaches.
And finally, what's your favorite piece of advice to give the students, Ms. Rivera?
Seek support.
Find success.
Well, that does it for Season 3, Episode 1 of Charleston in Charge. We look forward to a wonderful 2024-25 school year. As you can see, we have outstanding assistant principals here who are ready and willing to work with our teachers, but most importantly, your students. And we hope that everyone is able to take advantage of that. Thank you very much.